This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From custom domains to beautiful websites using their easily customizable templates that you can have up and running in minutes, e-commerce, email and email marketing, SEO, analytics, and scheduling, Squarespace does it all and has done it for us for the last 11 years. If you are a small to mid-sized business in any industry, Squarespace is the place to go for all of your website needs. Hop over to www.squarespace.com/Hugh for a free trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, receive 10% off your first order by using the discount code Hugh at checkout. Thanks, Squarespace.
The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. F. Scott Fitzgerald. The term butterfly effect was popularized by meteorologist Edward Norton Lawrence in the 1960s, who used it to describe how small changes in initial conditions can lead to vastly different outcomes in complex systems. It is derived from the metaphor that a butterfly flapping its wings in one part of the world could ultimately cause a tornado in another part, illustrating the sensitivity of chaotic systems to initial conditions. That's from Wikipedia. Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant, and credit where credit is due. Given the release of the X-Half last year and the Instax Mini EVO Cinema camera last month, I think it inarguable that Fujifilm is the most innovative and risk-assumptive company among major camera manufacturers. I just wanted to put that out there, front and center. I also want to keep this brief because what makes this camera important has nothing to do with specs, so I'm not going to bother going through them. But it is easy enough to summarize. Think of the Mini EVO Cinema as equal parts Instax instant camera, non-Instax X-Half, the Fujica P1, a fixed-lens single-8 movie camera introduced by Fujifilm in 1965, and a single physical control I've never seen before, which is the camera's center of gravity. Hold that thought. Of course, given the narrow window in which the X-Half and the Instax Mini EVO Cinema camera have been released, I think it reasonable to believe they are two different answers to the same question, and that is, how do we best reach new young audiences? Good question, too, since on the one hand, smartphones have been the de facto answer since 2008 with the launch of the original Apple iPhone, but on the other, Fujifilm's Instax instant film lineup has accounted for more than 60% of the company's imaging business's operating income over the past few years. But while initial sales of the X-Half were strong, as of January 9th, you could get an X-Half thrown in for free when buying an XT5 kit, at least here in the United States. That doesn't exactly scream runaway long-term success. All of which is to say, it's too early to know, simply on the basis of being a different answer to the same question, whether or not this new Mini EVO Cinema camera is going to have legs. Now, I was not one of the very few who had one in hand prior to the embargo lift, and as it was announced, I thought it would come down to this: how compellingly different it would be from smartphones after the initial dopamine rush of buying it had worn off. A function of what it can do that smartphones can't versus what smartphones can do that the Mini EVO Cinema can't. On a strictly apples-to-apples basis, however, I didn't need to have it in hand to conclude that any state-of-the-art smartphone, strictly speaking, is a superior imaging instrument. But even then, while this of course would be the point for Fujifilm, it was not the point for me. These were the 2 points for me. 1. I was already predisposed to liking it because the first film I ever made was a terrible but terribly exciting 3-minute and 6-second short shot on the 2.6x zoom version of the Fujica P1, the Fujica P300, in-camera edits and all, when I was 15. I will put a link to the full video in the description down below, although no need to watch it. It's terrible. I was never going to be another Steven Spielberg. But 2, the most unique aspect of the camera, the Gen dial, well, that left me apoplectic. Here's the thing. Yes, the Mini EVO Cinema is an homage to the original Fujica P1. I like that. Yes, it adds movie clips without losing Instax's print functionality, already putting it firmly into Instax territory that the X-Half left untouched. I understand that. And yes, it's less than half the price of the latest high-end smartphones. We all get that. That Gen dial, however, again, before I had the camera in hand, it really did split me right down the middle. I loved that it is an easily accessible Au Courant prompt to explore filmmaking and history. I don't mean just film history, I mean world history. But the 1930s reduced to a LUT with sound? Seriously? Great Depression, anyone? Maybe the crash of 29, which led to it? How about Hitler taking power in 1933, Japan in Manchuria and Nanjing, Stalin's Great Purge, Munich in 1938, and the invasion of Poland in 1939? Just for example. Of course, teaching history cannot be Fujifilm's job. I know that. I do not know of any one class at any university that could cover an entire century with a depth that would make it useful. Except, maybe, in any case, as prompts to further exploration on one's own, fair enough. But before I had the camera in hand, didn't matter. I was on my way, if I'm honest with myself, so I can be honest with you, to hating it. And then the camera arrived. Now I wonder if the Mini EVO Cinema just might be a hit. It feels wonderful in hand for what it is, and that begins with this. It feels like a movie camera. I've never been less certain of a conclusion because it requires me to go so far out of my head that I have to go back to being 15, which in some ways, given how advanced kids now are with respect to technology, might be equivalent to today's 10-year-olds. The one thing that stands out to me above everything else in this camera, given my humble P300 beginnings and failed in-camera editing, forget about specs. Beyond the fact that you don't have to wait for the film to be developed, beyond the ability to chimp immediately afterward to see if you got the shot, it is the simple confirmation menu that pops up as soon as you stop pressing the recording trigger or when you hit the maximum 15-second clip length, and it comes up and says, save and complete, or retake last clip. This one thing makes a world of difference for those of us willing to do a little in-camera editing, but take it no further. Suddenly, in-camera editing is easy, and I suspect a lot of people just might love that. All of which is to say, image quality, audio quality, 15-second clip limits, none of that matters. At least not compared to today's smartphones. Smartphones simply do it better. What matters instead, I suspect, is the allure of a purpose-built thing, a machine beautifully designed with accessible physical controls for the most part, to introduce children to what is possible, to encourage them to learn by playing. Simple as that. Which probably means I've completely missed the target audience because this is an expensive toy for a 10-year-old. Unless I haven't, maybe it isn't. Especially because handing a 10-year-old an invitation to the world of social media, a smartphone, is fraught with risk. I like a dedicated movie camera much better. maybe this is the ideal entry point for the next generation's Steven Spielberg. The Instax Mini EVO Cinema might turn out to be the ticket to fire a generation's curiosity, not only about play, but a prompt to look backward and in that process, better understand the present. And that, in turn, is enough for me to applaud Fujifilm. So, bravo Fujifilm. Truly, bravo. Innovative? Yes. Risk assumptive? You betcha. The wildest card of all in the Mini EVO Cinema's future? That it might ignite the imagination of a single young mind someday. Someone, somewhere, who ends up later in life having a disproportionate impact on redirecting the arc of history back towards justice. I think the Mini EVO Cinema is better for certain audiences in today's world than a smartphone for filmmaking, better than Spielberg's Bolex 8mm camera, better than the single 8 P300 I didn't have sufficient ambition to harness because editing required too much futzing back then. Better than this guy, a Braun Niso S56, to which I think the Mini EVO Cinema also pays homage, which also required too much futzing. For me. Although, update the S56 with in-body image stabilization, internal SSD, a great autofocus zoom lens, and the rest of the usual ports and capabilities de rigueur in today's hybrid cameras for video, in a package this beautiful, this small, this comfortable in hand, this dedicated, I think that would be sublime. Just saying.
This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From custom domains to beautiful websites using their easily customizable templates that you can have up and running in minutes, e-commerce, email and email marketing, SEO, analytics, and scheduling, Squarespace does it all and has done it for us for the last 11 years. If you are a small to mid-sized business in any industry, Squarespace is the place to go for all of your website needs. Hop over to www.squarespace.com/hugh for a free trial. And if you like what you see and want to move forward, receive 10% off your first order by using the discount code HUGH at checkout. Thanks, Squarespace.
If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation in the comment section below because this is an exceptional audience. If you'd like help with a portfolio review, gear selection, finding or honing your artistic voice, sign up for a one-on-one mentoring video called via Zoom at 3bmep.com/booking. Finally, please consider supporting our work by using the no-cost you affiliate links down below, sending us coffee money via PayPal, or most especially, joining us on Patreon, links down below as well. However you choose to support us, as always, we thank you for it.